Click like, click like, click subscribe. This is TopstepTV.
Welcome, friends and traders, to Mindset Matters. We have one of our favorites here. Dr. V is a clinical psychologist, a hypnotherapist, a mindfulness instructor, a trading coach, an active trader, and the Shira of trading. Dr. V, how are you today? It's great to be back with you.
I'm doing great. I had a very good day so far. I was working at the private practice, and I'm doing great. I'm spending an hour with you and with Topstep, so I'm very happy to be here. Hello, chat. How are you guys? How's the week so far? So yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about mindset because it matters.
It certainly does. Probably more than anything in trading is mindset and psychology, of course. So last time you were on, I think, Power Hour with Andre and Dolby, and you'd had a tough day. And you talked about it a little bit that day, from what I understand. And
Hey,
I just wanted to kind of... what's that?
I said hi to Dolby in the chat.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, there he is. So I just wanted to kind of open up and, see what that day was like for you, mentally, psychologically, and how you felt afterwards, and what did you change? What did you do to kind of recover from that rough day? First of all, what happened that day?
It's a good question. And when I was telling the story last Tuesday, I was referring to the Swiss cheese analogy in psychology. To put it simply, it means that when humans do errors, usually it's a series of small little things that went wrong. And then all the holes in the cheese align, and then you have, I don't know, a corridor of no cheese or a mistake. So that part of the analogy, don't ask me about that part, okay? But what happened is that what I do, the way I trade, is that I always use higher time frame to assess which side I'm going to favor for my intraday setups. So for NQ last week, I was favoring a bullish move because the 4-hour chart was bullish. And I had my trend line. Everything was going well. So then I got an alert in the morning to take a setup long. So I took the setup long because I had my criteria met for the execution. But what I didn't see, because I was trading off my phone, doing other things at the same time, because on Tuesday, I'm always at the private practice. So I was having a break, and I had the signal, I had my trend break, I had everything aligned to take the setup, and I took the setup long. But because of the reversal challenge, because you forgot to tell I'm a reversal champion, I'm just kidding, but I am.
Reversal champion here.
It hurts so much the first time that it feels so good to say it. I forgot to put my automatic bracket on, because for the challenge, you need to remove the bracket. And I've been, manually setting my brackets every time I put on a trade. And I didn't think of putting back the automatic bracket that I have. So usually it's a 200 risk for a 600 win. So what happened is that I took the trade off my phone, and I didn't see that before I took my trade, we lost the 4-hour trend. So at the moment I took the trade, we were not trending up at the moment. So it was not very good for my long, first thing first. But it's okay, it happens. But I didn't see it. What? Sorry?
That's the first hole in the cheese right there.
Yes. And I think the first hole is my phone. Because on my phone, it's smaller. I have another chart. It's a different setup. And so I just executed. And also because I wanted to be Mrs. Multitasking, right? And I was on a good streak. Everything, I was comfortable with my trading. Let's say that, okay? And then so I was not maybe paying attention like I should have. So everything, I can have a losing trade. It doesn't matter. But what happens is without a bracket, and also I was trading not 2 MNQs, but 2 NQs, full size.
Oh.
Also, like everything was wrong. Okay. And then I got back home and I saw, oh my gosh, I'm like minus $1,900 without a stop. And of course, when this happens, the thing doesn't go your way, right?
Of course.
It could have been a winning trade without a profit target, right? No, that was the opposite. So I had a major drawdown and I was so pissed. Like the loss was, of course, the money that stinks, right? I lost a lot of money,
right.
But I was very mad at myself because I was trying to do too many things at once, being too comfortable, too autopilot style. And trading requires a lot of attention because you have the platform, you need a good internet connection, you need the good setup, you need everything to align. So every little step, even if they become really automatic, really habitual, requires our full attention. So I think it was, and again, it's NQ, of course. NQ is such a great teacher. I think it happened just to tell me, hold on, you're going too fast. You're doing too many things. You're too comfortable. Relax a little bit. And it needs to hurt for us to understand, I guess. So now everything is protected. I'm back to having only on my watch list on TopstepX, the micro version of stuff. Okay, so it's not going to happen again. But that was difficult. So what I did differently is that now I put all my security check back in place. I didn't change the way I trade. So next day came in, didn't change anything. I made $1,000. The day after, $1,700. Yesterday, $1,000. So I'm back on track. Okay, sure. I'm happy. But I told myself also, I was very mad, but I said, okay, you're mad. I get it. What can you learn from this? You always need to switch as fast as possible. Okay. No stick on the head for like 2 days in a row. Okay. You're like, okay, that was stupid. Nobody said that trading was a linear journey. Okay. Nobody said that. It's about growing. Profitability is not a destination. It's how we behave, right? So I learned from that mistake, but I didn't change the way I approached the market. I didn't size more the next day because of that. And I told myself also, it's not going to define the trader I am and the trader I want to be because I had a horrible day, right? It's not going to
Right.
define me. Like some players have a horrible game sometimes. They shoot in their own net. Okay, sometimes. It happens. We're humans, okay?
Right.
And like, yeah, it happens. It's some days, I mean, and I think I have like one day like that a year for some reason. Just a little reality check, or hey, your
Yeah.
business doesn't have a lot of expenses. Let's, have some
Let's
expenses
create
right
one.
here.
Hey, a little look at the market
Anyway.
there. We just had the S&Ps roll from the low of the session almost to the high of the session here in the last 15 minutes. So seeing these markets firing up a little bit prior to the power hour today, end of month, end of quarter. So, all right. So you're back on track. You're back on the profit side. That's great. You're better than you were before you started putting holes in your Swiss cheese there. So
Yeah.
why don't we start getting into some of the questions? Some really good questions and some really deep ones. We're going to start with two of them that are somewhat kind of related, and I think that we kind of talk about these types of questions quite a bit. So Yusuf is asking, why are we more hesitant to close losers than winners? It seems a lot of times I let losers run more so than winners. And Joey also saying, when I take a trade, I cannot take a loss. When I see red, I can't close the trade. And in my mind, I always wait to see green. How should I deal with closing out trades and taking losses? Usually these trades are the ones that blow my XFAs because I can't deal with the simple fact of a losing day. So I think we're all kind of hardwired this way. We don't want to take losses. We avoid them. We want to take wins, so we cut them. What are your thoughts on this, Dr. B?
Love this question. Who bag held relationships here? I know I did. I also
what?
bag held. Who bag held relationships? Who stayed too long in a
Oh,
relationship that was not good? It's kind of this.
yeah. I think
I mean, it's
everybody has at
different,
one point, right?
right?
Yeah.
So a bad investment, it happens, right? So I think the answer to that is that, first of all, biology. So seeing red on your screen, losing money is a threat to our brain. Okay, first thing first, we need to understand that the natural way of thinking doesn't want you to lose money. Also, until you take the loss, until the stop loss is hit, the loss is not real.
Always a
So
chance it
if
could
I
turn around.
Exactly. So if I don't touch anything, I'm not losing. And it might come back. But hope is not a strategy. So that's why one of the reasons I think we don't close a position, it's because it is not real until it's real. And
It
that's also
exists.
why we take money so fast, right? Also off the table. It's green. I need to take it. Because it might disappear. It's not
Mhm.
real money until I take it. Same psychology behind it.
Mhm. So
So one
why?
way, yeah, sorry.
No, I was just gonna. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead and finish your thought.
It's just a way of approaching things, okay? Your natural brain is perfect. You are perfect the way you are. Don't bring that in the markets. Don't bring your beautiful humanity there. They're gonna eat you up. Okay? What you need to bring is a probabilistic mindset. I have a way to dance with the markets, to approach them, to navigate them, whatever the metaphor you want to use. And I am aware that it might not work because the markets will do what they have to do. They don't care about my position. So when putting on a trade, tell yourself, I am ready for this not working. I am accepting that the trade might not work. That money is gone. I invested $200 to make more. This is my investment. I'm also okay of losing that money. If it's not okay for you, size down. That money is gone. You invested it to take a trade. So it's not about how much we can make, how much we lose. That's the first side of things we have to look at.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other way around for so many things in trading.
Yeah. Tom Hoogert,
Right?
I think, says it very well. Normal doesn't work in trading. The normal thought process doesn't work. Everybody goes into hope when the market is against them, that they're hoping that the market will turn around and make them whole again or even pay them. And then when you're up money, there's the fear that some of that money is going to get taken away. And you should be the opposite. When the market is paying you, you should be hopeful. So when the market is taking money, you should be fearful. It's a kind of an opposite way of rewiring the brain to accept that. And you take enough big losses, and maybe eventually you're going to figure it out. But you can do a lot better by listening to the good doctor here, and don't fall into hope when you're in a loss. Understand that there is a invalidation for the trade. Get out. You've made an investment. That's what Dr. V says. I know somebody in the pit that used to say good after he'd take a loss. And I said, why are you saying good after you take a loss? He said, because I just paid for information. I just paid for information from the market. So, yeah, I think most people are not hardwired to be successful. As a matter of fact, the hardwiring of most of our brains are the opposite of what we need to do as traders. And I love the way you put it. You need a probabilistic mindset.
Having a losing trade doesn't mean your system is not working. It means it didn't work this time.
Right.
You need a lot of data before you change something to the way you trade. Okay, so again, we tend to have sometimes the tunnel vision trade by trade, when usually it's like a water drop from the ocean. So we need to focus on our performance, and it's not even our performance, it's the system's performance over a series of trades before you can really assess it. It's like, again, the analogy of trying a new medication on a sample of individual. You need a good enough sample and enough trials to maybe say, hey, it looks like it's reducing symptoms. It's not because you have one patient reacting positively to the medication, then it's working. Let's go to all the pharmacies. We're selling this medication. It's working. Or with one individual not working and saying, this is crap. We have to go back to the lab. It doesn't work. We suck. Oh, I'm not a good scientist. Oh, me, I'm not a good medical doctor. We suck at this. Oh my God. Right? Like, seriously? Like, why getting so attached to the outcome and to one single trade?
Mm-hmm.
Why we need to be proved right on one single trade? I think the sexiest side of trading is the losing part. The way you lose is very sexy, not the way you win. Making money is easy. Keeping it is not.
That's one of my dad's wisdoms. He always told me, making money and losing money is easy. It's keeping it that's the hard part.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I hope it answers the question. And just to go back on the losing, the two losing questions, it's going to be hard, okay, to take the loss. That's why you need to size down a little bit for your brain to slowly desensitize. Okay, in psychology, we call this gradual exposition. So, what you should be doing is practice yourself taking the stops and watching it, observing your emotions, and saying, hey, when I stop out where I should, I'm protecting my money. And this is sexy. Losing is sexy. That's the new thing. Okay? Really, for real. That's what makes a good trader. And now we should only post our losing days or losing trades, maybe. Okay? Because winning is easy. So to desensitize the brain, we need, like I said, every day we let the system do its thing and we don't touch anything. And if you really want the full experience, 5D, okay, I don't know if there's a 5D thing, but you sit on your hands and you stare at the screen for the whole trade. And you observe like an experiment. Because again, you should be simulating the way you trade until you reach the level where you no longer care if it wins or lose. Because it's just a trade. So until you reach that level, continue sitting down on your hands, watching it. When you put yourself in the way, you're putting your humanity in the markets. And that's what they want.
Yeah.
Come,
Right.
like candies and shiny stuff. Come. Right? They make like beautiful move, like waterfalls and stuff like that. So we get so excited. And there you go.
Awesome answer. Awesome answer, Dr. V. We're going to go deep here. There's a question here from Carmen. And I'm just going to kind of read this as it is. I struggle with choosing trading because working a 9-to-5 job is more consistent and instant gratification with bi-weekly paychecks. Becoming a consistently profitable trader is my ultimate goal, but it seems I am the only one standing in my own way because I don't feel worthy of becoming a successful trader, so I self-sabotage. How can I unlearn my deeply rooted trauma on how I see money as a negative because I grew up poor, so I don't feel I deserve to have wealth and success? I told you we were going deep, and this is pretty deep.
So that is the question, right?
Yes. Yeah. How does somebody that has, I mean, I'm looking at this as a maybe an unhealthy relationship with money because they grew up poor and maybe they think that money is dirty or something negative because they didn't have it, and this is a relationship with money question, if you ask me. So if somebody doesn't feel as though they deserve to earn money, or maybe even kind of feel like money's dirty, and if you have it, you're dirty, or you're cheated or whatever. This is somebody that's having trouble with, being okay with making money.
Yeah. So I think one part of that question is how does self-sabotage show up for you? Because it's going to be different for everyone, okay? Then when you identify what is the trigger and what kind of behavioral patterns you are entertaining, we need to find ways to protect yourself from them. So this is a very big self-awareness journey right here, because first we need to identify what behaviors should be removed of the equation, okay? And then we need to address the thoughts. So in cognitive behavioral therapy, usually what we do, I have a table with the clients and we identify the external trigger, let's say a losing trade, and then the thoughts that are associated with the trigger, then the emotions that are associated with that, and then the resultant behavior of that. It's like a chain, it's like a loop. So what you will need to do is identify each step, what is showing up for you, and write down every single thought that you entertain about money. Because the fact that you want to become a trader means that you have a good relationship with money, because you want to learn how to trade to have a cherry on top of everything else, or to have a side hustle, or to have a good retirement, or whatever it is. So you know that money equals energy, and energy to have potentially more freedom. Again, it's not money itself. It's what people do with money that sometimes can be evil. But money is saving lives. Money is paying for clinical trials so that people get good medication. Money is saving the world, okay? So it's person dependent what you do with that energy, okay? It's like in the cartoons, in kids' cartoons, when you see somebody evil using a power against each other instead of bringing people closer. So I think you should maybe have, again, this exercise where you put your thoughts next to the one that you maybe learned, okay, before. And what is very challenging is that humans tend to be very good at keeping patterns alive, habits. Okay, thought patterns are only habits. And they are difficult to change because every time we think outside of them, we might feel dirty, we might feel uncomfortable, we might feel anxious. Because it's not what I know. And maybe if I'm making money, my family will look at me like I'm evil, or I'm superficial, or I'm a Wall Street shark, or whatever it is. So I get that. So I think it's very important to do this, that really decompose how the behaviors, the thoughts, the emotions, and the resulted actions show up for you. That would be my answer. But of course, it has to be more complex than that. I would have many questions to ask, but that would be, I would base my intervention on cognitive behavioral theory.
Yeah, there's only so much we can do right here, right, Dr. V? But Carmen, first thing I want you to do is tell yourself every day and every time you question it that you deserve whatever you can take out of these markets. This is not easy. It takes a long time to learn. It's very difficult, and there's a lot of risk involved. So, you know, you should really feel as though that the work that you're doing to become a better trader is something that you deserve to get paid for. You don't. It's not a right. It is a a possibility. There's no guarantees that you're ever going to be profitable, but you are going to learn a lot about yourself. And, you know, when you say that you feel as though you don't deserve, to have wealth and success? You do. That kind of leans to me to kind of thinking, okay, you're working, you're okay. Where you came from is something that you're going to have to leave behind, and you have to again believe that you deserve anything you can take from the markets. There was a trader that told me once, you can earn anything you think you're worth in this industry, and it's true. I mean, are you going to get to the point where you're going to be able to do that is up to you. But the difficulties, and I had, and I think I still deal with sometimes, difficulties with my relationship with money. So one of the sweetest things that Dr. V that I think you said was, when you think about money, yeah, what people can do with money can be evil, but what you can do with money, Carmen, is do good things with it. When I was a prop trader, I had I think we're kind of trading therapists, right? And in order to kind of increase the value that I had in myself as a trader that was beginning to make money, I had to at least once a month, maybe twice a month, go work in a soup kitchen, or hey, go buy 10 sandwiches from the sandwich shop up the street and then hand them out to people that are homeless. At the time it was pretty hard to find 10 of them, but it was always do something for somebody else to improve your thoughts and your ideas on what you're able to do with the things that you're learning in trading and that you're making money. And then, Carmen, think about this: if you become really successful at this, I'm sure that there are going to be people in your life that would love to learn from you the same skills and the same possibilities of earning money that you can help them with. So there's so many good things that can come from you making money, Carmen. You deserve what you can get out of these markets. Don't tell yourself that. Leave the past behind, look forward, work every day towards getting better at what you're trying to do here. It's not easy. It's never easy. But if you can get to a point where you're earning, maintaining an account, then you're doing better than most. And I believe just about anybody can do this if they get their head straight. Carmen, you can do this. Get your head straight. Work on that relationship with money. What Dr. V said to do is write everything down, all of these thoughts, get them out. And, maybe that'll help and validate those thoughts for you, and you can get better, get on the right path. All right. Dr. V, thank you very much.
It's awesome. Like you just said, it's hard work. It's the hardest way to make easy money. So if you make money trading, it's because of your hard work. So never forget that. Congratulate yourself. You've been learning. It's been hard. You've been grinding. And I don't think we ever stop learning when we trade. And that's why I love trading so much. I love the market so much. They teach us so many things about ourselves. It's like the deepest self-discovery journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
But take what the markets are telling you. Take it. Don't react to it. Don't resist it. They are talking to you. They want you to make it. That's why they're showing you what is not working. So go with the flow, I would say.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. V. All right. We've got about maybe 10 minutes, and then we're going to do a little meditation about a quarter till, maybe about 12 till. Shubham had a question for group coaching, and I was saving it for that. And he also put it in the session for you, Dr. V. And here it is. Why is it that whenever we lose in trading, we quickly blame our mindset or psychology, even when we don't have a clear strategy or system? Isn't it possible that psychology feels overrated at times? Because unlike surgeons, pilots, or engineers, we often operate without a defined process. And the more we believe it's only the psychology issue, the more we keep repeating the same cycle. We often assume mindset is something we already understand from day one, but that building a solid strategy comes last. But in reality, it's the other way around. The mindset we truly need only becomes clear once we already have a strategy that gives us an edge. Do you follow that question? It's about,
Yes, I love this question.
Yes. Okay.
I
All right.
love this question. And somebody was
Excellent.
asking me a philosophical question this week. He was asking me, what if you had to choose, would you choose technicals or psychology for trading? And I said, well, it's not possible to choose, because if you don't have a strategy, you don't need psychology, right?
Right.
Because you don't have a strategy. Why even bother with psychology? So the first step, and even when I work with people, okay, the first thing I want to make sure is that they have a trading recipe that I could replicate, even if they're not next to me telling me what to do. Until we reach that stage together where the strategy is chosen, the rules are explicit and simple enough, we don't even care about psychology, right? So go into stages. And I think next time I'm on Mindset Matters, I would like to present, I have made this presentation about the stages to become a successful trader. And I think it would be a very good presentation to have, because we tend to put too much pressure on ourselves too early on the journey. So yeah, I love this question. So there's no psychology if you're not trading a recipe. First priority, choose the strategy, set the rules, test it in sim, and see how you can execute it without changing anything for a couple of trades. So foundation, and then we build, and then we work on the execution, we work on the psychology, we work on, but first thing first. So thank you so much for that question, because it is so essential to have some kind of way to navigate the markets before we ever talk about executing correctly.
Great answer. And I'm going to hold you to it. Next time, we're going to do the stages of becoming a profitable trader. We're going to look forward to that, Dr. V. All right. See if I find a couple of quickies here for us. Walter is asking, how do I switch my mindset from thinking on stop loss to focus on take profit? Focusing on, focusing on wins instead of focusing on losses can be a very important and helpful thing for a trader, don't you think? Creating habits.
Well, no, I think it's thinking too much. I mean, you just put on the trade, right? You just execute the thing. Why focus on stop or profit? You have a recipe, so you know where you stop out, and you have a recipe because you know where you take profit. So I don't know. I don't focus on that. I just do it. I just execute and I let the thing go and see what happens. Okay. So last week, again, my Tuesday, I think it was the moon. I was doing trading live, and when I trade live at the power hour, I take trades that I would like outside of my system, but I was taking trend breaks. And one trade, the profit target was 1 point away from where NQ turned around, and the other long 1.75 points away, and it turned around. So, but again, I was respecting my profit target and my stop loss. Okay, but sometimes it just sucks like that. But yeah, I'm just executing, so I don't focus on anything because yeah.
New highs, yes, folks. New highs, new session highs. Look at this. All right.
I love
Andrew's
that
asking.
book. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Somebody's talking about The Art of Racing in the Rain, and I've read that book before, and it was a very nice book. So, anyways.
Awesome. Where was I? Oh, Andrew was asking, what are some ways to curb the feeling of putting on a trade out of boredom?
Ooh, trading is boring. I'm so sorry. I mean, put your trade on and go for lunch or something. Get excited with something else, but don't get excited with trading. That will not happen if you do things always the same thing correctly, right? So yeah, that's a grieving process. Okay, I've talked about that too. Like, you need to go through that stage too of, oh, so trading is that. Okay, I thought I would
Yeah.
have Christmas every day, and but yeah, you're just following orders and you're obedient to what's happening. So yeah.
Yeah. We had a Dr. Menaker on a number of years ago, and he was an active trader, and dealing with everything that humans, I mean, you're a doctor, you're a human, we all deal with these things. So he decided to keep himself from taking trades while he was bored, or over managing trades while he was in a trade waiting for a profit target to get hit or whatever, that he was going to design a distraction. I kind of coined that for him, designed distraction. Maybe I didn't, I don't know. But so he always wanted to learn to play the guitar. So he bought a guitar and taught himself guitar on YouTube while he was waiting for setups to come up, or waiting for profit targets to get hit. Find something else to do with your hands, man. Andrew, play the guitar.
That was funny.
Play a guitar, right?
Yeah. Yeah, get excited elsewhere, not in the markets. It's going to cost you a lot of money. I've been there.
Simon wants to know, what mental rituals or routines do you follow before the day begins? And what psychological tools do you use to stay grounded after a big win or a loss? This is from Simon.
The thing I will do, it's not necessarily like after a big win, but if I find that I'm getting greedy, like last time I said that I had a day where I made $1,000 and I was not happy about it. If I find myself having these thoughts, I'm going to size down directly. Like, you want to think like that? Look at me, right? Now you're sizing down. There you go. So always come back to and think of it as like, what's a normal day job paying, right? I'm pretty sure that most normal day job pay less than $1,000 a day for clicking a mouse, right? So we have to come back here and now. So what I do, meditation is really helpful. Coffee is too. So that's a psychological ritual for me. But I meditate every day with my Discord members. And we also have once a week a hypnosis session, once a week an emotional release session together. We have Traders Anonymous, like Alcoholic Anonymous, where we just spill the beans, like what went wrong, and that's okay. So yeah, that is, every morning we have that kind of ritual, and I think it's grounding me. But also in my life in general, just learning to be here and now and observing instead of directly reacting. Okay? It's not because you feel something that you need to act on it. Take a moment, observe. Hey, I'm afraid. Okay. You're in a trade, you're afraid. Okay. That's it. That's just a cloud passing in your sky. It's just an emotion. It's just energy. Let it float away. So meditation is a very, simple,
we're gonna do
free
some now,
tool
aren't we?
that you can use. Sorry?
And we're going to do some now, aren't we?
Yes, let's do it. We have to.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
2:47.
We got about 10 minutes. I'm looking forward to this.
Okay. So the meditation today is, I need to switch brain now. Okay. The meditation today is called Letting Go of Money to Succeed in Trading. So I would invite you to kill all your application, but not YouTube. So you are not distracted. Turn off your phone. Take a couple of minutes for yourself. Okay, we all need it. Some kind of pause. This world is crazy. It goes so fast. Okay, so take that time, that moment for you. Even if you feel like, why, no, I don't feel like it right now. Just have some time. Your brain will thank you, I promise. So when you're ready, sit yourself comfortably and gently close your eyes. Start checking in with yourself. Gently. And bring your attention to your breath. Inhale slowly. Hold. And then exhale even slower. One more time. Take a deep inhale through the nose, slowly. You hold, and we let go, slowly. Feel the ground or the chair or whatever is the support beneath you, supporting you fully. In this moment, in this very moment, you are safe. And nothing is required of you except to simply be here. And reminding ourselves that what is real is only the present moment. The rest is only thoughts. And let them pass without going with them. Now bring your awareness to the concept of money. Notice what arises when you think about it. It could be excitement, pressure, fear, desire. Whatever shows up, simply observe it without judgment. Now imagine money as flowing energy, like water in a river. You cannot hold onto the water tightly. It slips through your fingers. But if you trust the flow, if you build the right channel, the river naturally moves toward you and around you. Say silently to yourself, money is not my goal. Mastery is my goal. Success in trading comes when I release my grip on outcomes. My edge comes from clarity, patience, and discipline. With each breath, repeat inwardly. I release any attachment to money, because trading is about process, performance, execution, building the right channel for the money to come to me, because I'm tired of chasing. Success comes when I let go. I trust my process more than I fear loss. I trade for skill, not for outcome. And now, let that sink. Take a final deep breath in. And exhale slowly. When you're ready, open your eyes. Come back here and now with us. Knowing that you don't need to chase money. When you master yourself, profits will come naturally. Welcome back.
Thank you, Dr. V. That was very pleasant. All right.
People are funny.
They are. It's all right. You know, people are different.
So what about a daily morning meditation with Topstep TV? What do you think? Like, just to prepare our day would be awesome, right?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of do it on my own in, kind of a small way, but it's like, like trading, meditating is a lonely business. Sometimes,
Yes.
right?
That's why we need great communities like this one, right? So, and I really hope that you guys could take something from today's session. And I want you to feel very comfortable to ask anything. It's very important. It's the hardest thing you might do in your life professionally, okay? So don't hesitate. It's hard for everyone. Don't think that people on YouTube, everybody like us, like we're ballers making a lot of money, never losing, or like never messing up. It's not true, okay? We need self-compassion a little bit. We're grinding, we're growing, we're learning, okay? This is trading, never ending. Can you maybe, Hope, say something about that? Like, what is the journey? You've been in this business for how long now? If I may ask.
Well, I'm only 21, so 40 years.
So
but
how can you?
I couldn't agree more. I mean, one of the best traders I ever knew told me when I asked him, how did you make so much money? He said, that's the wrong question, Hogue. When I first came on the floor, I didn't know anything. My goal, and it still is to learn how to make good trading decisions, to be a good trader, to learn how to be a good trader. And that has been my goal from the beginning. It was never about money. To me, the money is a byproduct.
Exactly. Byproduct of our behaviors.
Yep. All right,
So
doctor,
totally
we
true.
got to end this segment. Can't tell you how much I appreciate you, and thank you so much for being here
Yeah.
with us. I learned so much from you every time you're on, and I think one of the coolest things I learned today was that, hey, losses are sexy.
Yeah, that's the new thing. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you, Hogue. It's such a honor every time. Like, I'm so blessed. And thank you so much for everyone in the chat for, hanging out with us. Always a pleasure. So have a great afternoon, everyone.
And an even quarter bid, half bid, the orders bid, even bid. Now I'm a seller. Quarter, half, the orders, and even.
Greetings, traders. This is Coach Robert with another episode of TopstepX in 5 minutes or less. In this video, we will provide an overview of the trader performance dashboard in TopstepX. For demonstration purposes, I have an NQ chart, 500 tick, but what we really want to see are the performance stats under this icon here on the left side. By clicking on it, you will see the performance summary of the account being displayed. Here we have the combine of April 10th. Let's choose the combine of February 29th, and we can see that it changes with our selection. Note that we have the date range beginning of June 10th. Our combine began April 10th, so we need to adjust. By clicking on the date range, we can scroll back to the beginning of our combine. I'm just going to choose April 1st to make it easy, and then of course we have the 12th. Today's the 10th. This is perfectly fine. We have tips at the top. We scroll down a little bit. We have another Coach T tip in the middle of the screen. The top section is for summary. We have our total P&L, trade winning percentage, average win-loss ratio, day winning percentage, profit factor, and our best days percent of total profit. This is important for the consistency target. I can mouse over to show a better view, a larger view of what we're seeing in case they get cut off due to screen space. The next section down shows our daily account balance, and we can mouse over and it shows the exact date. If the scale is very, very wide, if the combine is around for a long time, this will be pretty compressed. So here makes it easy. Going down a little further, we have more detailed stats. For example, the most active day is a Wednesday, and it gives us the information. Profitable day is a Monday. And then our least profitable day is a Wednesday, for example, and that is based on the dates that we have chosen. Number of trades, total number of lots traded, and of course our average trade duration. We have our average winning trade, average losing trade, our best trade, and our worst trade, and it gives us the exact trade that it was. We also have some nice graphs here that display the cumulative profit, and also the daily P&L, whether we go up or down on our days, and then of course we can match that with what we have in the summary up top. This is another bar analysis for trade count. We have 8 trades here that are under 15 seconds, 8 that are 15 to 45 seconds, and so on. This will give us a good idea as to how long we are holding our trades, and we can compare them to our winning rate, and then of course if we have won or lost on those trades in that time frame. Here is the very nice feature of the calendar. So this is in July. Notice there are no trades. So let's go back to that day that we found our largest losing trade. Here is our worst trade. Notice it is on June 26th. We shorted 5 NQ. So we can go down to our calendar, scroll back until we have June 26th right here. By clicking on it, it gives us the performance on that day. You can see we only have 1 trade right here of 5 contracts. This is exactly it. Let's choose another one we have more trades than just 1. Here, we have 6 trades. We have 7 trades. We have 10 trades. Let's choose 10. The 10 trades, it shows us our performance for that day, our cumulative profit. And we have our trades displayed down here. Now note that we can change how many we are seeing, and if there are multiple pages, scrolling back and forth, scrolling up and down with this bar. We can also choose how it's sorted. So we can see when our P&L, our commission, for example, let's choose our direction. sorted by all longs, and then all shorts. Click it again, it's the other direction. If you wanted to change the order of these, for example, if you wanted to see your P&L first, you can just click on and drag the column over, for example, here. And then we moved our P&L. There we go. I just missed it there for a second, but there it is. Highly adjustable. This here, bottom section, is for all the trades within our date range. Notice we have 100 rows selected all the way down, and it's 1 through 44. So if we chose to show 20, we will have to choose these arrows to look at the next one. And again, these are all sorted by clicking the arrows or by dragging the title to the side. So there it is. That's the start as of July 10th, 2024. Stay tuned for more updates and features. And this will conclude the Trader Performance Dashboard overview.
All right, it is time for our Mindset Matters. And yes, the boss is here, Robin Dayne, from Broadway to Wall Street. She spent 8 years being trained and mastered her neuro-linguistic skills with Anthony Robbins. She's worked with the top traders at Tudor Investments, as long as other places. She has worked with thousands of traders. We're always blessed to have her with us. And she is an active trader herself. Robin, it's great to have you here. How are you feeling today? How are things going?
It's a great day. I'm so excited about today because I think this is a good format. I'm going to do a case study today on, I have thousands and thousands of coaching files. So I figured let's do the case studies because they are relevant to what everybody needs and it's very exciting. But I wanted to make an announcement. All of my questionnaires are finished that I've received. If you did not receive a reply, please email me and I'll have to look it up. So for some reason, Yahoo attached emails in the wrong place and I had to really search, but all of them should be out. So if you filled out a questionnaire from the website, you should have gotten a reply by now. Email me if you didn't. And I appreciate that. And the people that I did email, the late ones, I gave you a little bit of an extra bonus if you want to do coaching, and there are quite a few in there that should really consider it. So, and that's only good through Friday. Okay, so I want to get into it.
Remember, folks, I mean, Robin goes through those one by one personally. That's a lot of work that Robin is doing for you. So make sure if you sent one in, make sure you get it, of course. Okay, Robin. Case studies. You've got thousands of them. I can't wait to hear them. But folks, if you do have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. We're going to collect those. And I'm sure that some of these case studies are going to kind of speak to each of us in our own way, but a lot in the same way, as we're all human beings. And I'm really looking forward to hearing this. Again, questions, put them in the chat. We'll collect them. About the last half of this session, we'll go through those questions. I know Robin likes the quick questions. And she's got a little something at the end for everybody as well. So make sure you stick around. Robin, the floor is yours.
Okay, so a quick on the questionnaires. So questionnaires can come in now. We held them up for a while, but you can do the questionnaires from the website. Okay, so David is a 32-year-old male from Texas. He's married, one child, and his wife is pregnant. He was in the construction business. He's been trading for 5 years, and he manages to trade about 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. And so when I got him, the challenges that we had, well, he's a part-time trader. He trades 5 markets. His biggest issue was the fear of missing out, which a lot of you have. He was over trading, and he wasn't journaling. His averages were averaging, he could only get up $150 a week the most, and he was more down $522 a week. His biggest trading loss was $4,500. He has 6 items in his criteria, but he has 2 strategies. And I always mention you have to have your plan, your strategy, your criteria, and your stops. He was getting scared, and he was exiting too soon, and he was exiting at the sign of any kind of profit. So that's what he was dealing with. So I'm going to actually read from his exact words of what he went through. Now, this is, my clients are very personal to me. This was from 2021. I'm not going into his personal stuff, although I told you about his personal stuff, but it's what everybody's going through. It's not something that's isolated to him. And so I just want to read you. So I asked him for his top 3 trading challenges. I usually do that in my coaching sessions. First one is lack of patience and discipline. So I have them describe it to me. I don't usually have them type it because when you talk to me, you talk from your subconscious memory. And when you put it in the written word, you have time to think about it. And I don't want that. I read you better when you tell me. But he wrote to me. So I had this really nice description. I thought you could relate to it. After I read the first one, we'll stop and ask some questions. I do have at the end what he did and how he changed and how good it was for him. Okay, I started trading sessions off fresh with discipline and patience, I feel like. And as I stay patient, the market moves and I start feeling like the patience is just what I'm describing, a bit of hesitation or apprehension. A setup may or may not happen, but either way, the market is moving and I feel like I should be doing something. I can't make money from the sidelines. So my patience turns into impulse and I force a trade without a real setup. Sometimes I imagine a big move is about to happen, and it actually normally does eventually. So I jump into the position early so I don't miss out. I often end up stopped out and the market moves as I expected. But I got in early, and just because some of my gunpowder that launched the move. So he had some things happening. I occasionally miss a good setup because I just want a little bit more confirmation than the impulse enter into a poor setup. That happens out of regret that I just missed out on a good one. Not wanting to miss out on another one, and though it's a bad setup or no setup, I trade to the start of it. I have a hard time holding a trade to take the profit and often pull the trigger down at the first sign of a pullback or tighten up my stop way to the close, both sides reducing profit potential of my trade, often to the detriment of my P&L. Fear of losing money, giving back profits. Also, I find flat out fear of being wrong and the feeling of a loser because my trade was a loser. So that's the first one. It's pretty descriptive. But what he's doing is he's describing his mindset during the trade. And, we sit there alone as traders. We may be in the trading room, but we're sitting there as traders in the room, and we have a flood of thoughts going through. So the thoughts are really critical. Does anybody have any questions on the first one? Lack of discipline and patience. I'm going to go right into the second one. Okay.
One of the first things you said was he was having a difficult time seemingly discerning whether he's hesitating in getting into trades or if he's actually being patient. I would imagine there's a bit of a thin line when it comes to that. And feeling like if he doesn't have anything on, that he's not working hard enough. Okay. That's one of the things that I've told traders, if you don't take a trade the whole day, you can't feel like you wasted that day. If you didn't see a setup, if the market wasn't aligned with what your setups were telling you, you're better off doing nothing. You don't have to feel like you have to trade to be a trader is really just my thought on that. But where is that line between being patient and being hesitant to get into trades?
Well, that's why you need to know yourself. Great traders know who they are. So when he feels it, you can feel it in your body. Your mind and body are connected, and you can feel it in your body. And it's a great observation when you have that thin line. So what he described in his resources to fix it, interesting, because he deals with all those little imperfections along the way. Great traders know when not to trade. So if you don't see a setup, it's okay. Keep yourself busy. And again, I'll go through some of the things that he did. I'm going to go through the second one. I'm not going to go through the third one because I think we'll have questions on this. Okay, one trade affecting another becomes a slippery slope and the snowball effect. In my first trade of the day was a good setup, but still a loser. It makes me feel like a loser, and it gives me a lot of self-doubt for some reason. If my first trade of the day is a bad setup and still a loser, I feel even more like a loser and like I have no self-control or direction in my trading. If the first trades are winners, I get overconfident pretty quickly and sometimes jump into losing trades immediately after a winner, thinking that I'm the guru. Every trade affects the next trade for me emotionally. I have a tough time separating them emotionally from each other. I have no current tactic that acts as a reset button for my emotions. My P&L performance affects my whole rest of my day also, a losing day. I'm less inclined often to continue working on trading related topics and just to shy away from my computer. So he just avoids it. On positive days, I'll watch the charts long, more talkative with the trading group than usual. I don't know how my trading P&L affects me so much. Okay, so in that instance where he says it's a slippery slope, a lot of traders that I know in the room are having one loss after another, and I always tell them to make sure you really work on the first trade of the day and make your first trade a positive trade. So let me give you some of the things that he did. This is really interesting. So do you have any questions now on that one?
Well, there were a couple of kind of keywords that kind of struck me, and is he's getting out of a losing trade and getting back into it, thinking he's a guru. Having a losing trade has never made me feel like a guru. It's always
no. He said that after winning trades.
After
that's
winning
what he
trades.
felt like.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, that makes sense to me. But every time I've believed that I'm God's gift to trading, or that I say to myself, I get it now. I can do this. I'm going to be, I'm great at this, whatever it is. There's usually danger at my door because I'm going to put my left down. I'm going to put my guard down.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop doing the work. I'm going to stop focusing on what I need to focus on to find good trades. And I'm just going to think that, the market's going to just continue to pay me no matter what. And that's a very dangerous thing. So tell us, Robin, what did he do?
Okay, so he did a couple things. A couple things jumped out at me when I was coaching him. First, I had him remove the P&L because he was focusing on the P&L. If you're focusing on the money and not the quality of your trade, then you're going to make mistakes. The P&L can emotionally affect you because everybody has that connection to money, and money is different for every person. And especially a big loss. You don't want to start the day with a big loss. You want to have small wins and build on that. He said, and these are some of the things that we did in the coaching. He said, I started saying to myself, what's the market telling me? So when you're in a trade and you're managing the trade, what's the market telling me? That keeps your mind busy. And we've talked about that once before, or many times before. Questions in the moment stop your mind from getting pulled in. So instead of getting hooked and pulled in by Mr. Market, ask a question to keep your mind busy. So what's the market telling me? And he said that what that did is it helped me stay mindful in the moment. Then he said, I was a bit tense. So I stepped away and I did 10 push-ups. He stepped away and did 10 push-ups and broke the pattern. When you physically break the pattern of your trading, and you can feel yourself getting hooked. Get up, walk to the kitchen, get something to eat, do something. But he stepped away, did 10 push-ups, came back, and it just reset his mind. He did the trading game. Yep, he recentered. He started in sim first, and his rule was he had to do 2 winning trades, and that would earn him the right to go live. And he went from trading full contracts to doing 5 micros. He was trading 5 markets in the beginning. I had him scale it down to 1. Every market has a different personality. You have a personality as a trader. Every market's speed determines if you can manage that trade. So test the different markets if you're trading many, but focus on one so you can learn the personality. If you trade one market and it fits your personality, it's a good thing. If you're overstressed with the market you've chose, maybe it's too fast, try a different one. And each market just has different little tiny tidbits. ES has shorter bars, but it's faster. NASDAQ has more bars, but the bars tend to be longer, and the moves can be longer. So you have to find the one that fits your personality. And I find a lot of traders haven't done that. He set his targets to hit them, and when he hit the target of 100, he had $100 to start with, because he was losing $500, and that might have been in the day. I might have had that wrong. 500 in the day. So I had to get him back to winning. So when he made his first $100 goal, he would switch to sim, and he would lock in the profits. You want to lock in the profits. Small wins. You'll feel better tomorrow if you lock in profits today than you will giving back the money. So you have to have small wins. And he walked away when he got, again, stressed. When he got to his level, he walked away. He had coffee with his wife. He watched his levels. And then when he went back, he went into sim because he wanted to learn. So it's okay to go back into sim. You locked in your profits, and then you go. That discipline alone of stopping when you locked in your profits is key. That discipline, that one little discipline to stop when you hit your profit target for the day. He'll feel better at the end of the week making $500 than he will losing $2,500 like he was doing.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Much better, much better. Okay, then he says on the pullbacks, he tended to get hooked. So when he had a pullback in the trade, that's when his emotions really started to kick in. And he found that after we had done coaching, we got rid of his block. He was much more controlled. And every time he felt like he was getting emotional from the past, he did something that he felt was excellent, and it was okay to miss out on the trade. So if he saw a trade that was in there and it worked, and he didn't go into the mindset of, oh, I missed that one, and got stuck in that mindset. Oh, I missed it. There's another trader in the corner. I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
Oh, yes.
You just want it to be a winning one. So he found, though, that when he had the small pullbacks, that's when he had that thinking. So we had to do some shifting on that thinking. So the fear of missing out had him jumping in too quickly. And he just kept saying to himself, there's another one coming up. There's another one coming up. And in doing that, he was doing the moving forward thinking. What can you do in the moment to move forward, not backwards? He can't change the trade he missed. He can't get back money he missed. You can't either. You have to focus on what's coming up in the market, reading what's happening, and figuring out what you have to do next. So moving forward, pulling your mind forward. Don't let your mind get trapped into moving backwards. Okay, and then he did, see if I got everything.
Folks, if
Yeah.
you
So
if you
I got
do have
everything there.
questions, a lot of this is probably pulling some questions out. Make sure you put them in the chat. We're gonna have
Yep.
Robin go through those questions at the end. So make sure you put them in the chat. We'll collect them again.
Okay.
Robin, go
So
ahead.
he had again, we had these, few things that we changed. He did the trading game. I've talked about that before. He took the P&L off. That's a very positive thing. He had his mindset, and he broke the pattern when he was getting his mind pulled into a trade when he shouldn't. He set a goal for the day that he knew he could make. Don't set a goal. Don't set $1,000 goal when you can't make $1,000 in the day, because you'll start to push. Set a goal you know you
Yes.
can make, and then stop. That discipline right there to stop is the discipline. What is a discipline everybody needs? Why do you think discipline is the biggest word in every trading book you read? Because it's the hardest thing to do. It's the hardest thing to do. So you have to practice it to get it. I mean, you just had this wonderful guy on that's a skier. He's not going to go out there on a ski slope that he doesn't know and are not familiar with, or he's not going to do a race on a slope he's never skied on. He's going to practice on it. He's going to figure out where the moguls are. He's going to figure out where the turns are, what his body has to do. It's the same thing for a trader. When we're in there, we have a mindset that we have to control as we're in the trade, looking for the winning trade of the first trade of the day. I'd like to make sure we leave everybody with that. Make your first trade of the day a winning trade, You'll feel better for the rest of the day. And if you don't, examine the loss. What did you do? Don't go on to the next trade just to get back the money. Examine it. Most traders don't track what they did. There's something you did incorrectly. Either you got into the wrong place. Make sure you're doing stops, please, right now. With Trump doing all these announcements and things that are going on, the market has these big swings in a direction. You got the fight with Powell. You've got the potential of different wars around the world. Don't not have a stop. I can't believe I'm reading questionnaires of people don't have stops. I mean, that's crazy. I've never seen a successful trader without a stop, a hard stop. Never. They're smart enough. You can have a whip in the market. I remember the first time I went through it. Thank God I was in the right direction. And I ended up making a lot of money, but it scared the heck out of me when it happened. It went so far. Thank God I was in the right direction. I would have blown my whole account. So don't not have a stop. Find out from somebody how you do a bracket trade, where you make the entry, you have your profit target set and your stop loss set. You can move it after you make the entry. You can move those and adjust them as if you need to, but use a stop. Do you use a hard stop?
Every time.
Yeah, every time.
Every time. And even if I have a bracket on it, and the bracket is, the stop is further than my point of invalidation, I'll move my stop closer.
Yeah.
But you got to have that stop.
Yeah.
You hear that, folks? This is 30 years of experience working with traders, and a lot of really great traders, and all of them have had stops. Always.
All of them.
Put on a stop.
And the higher you go in the business, the more you want it, because you have the more to risk, more at risk. And I know that you all are putting your trades on based on your risk reward. So you want to have that on to have your risk reward right. Okay. Any questions? That was our trader case study. And I know a lot of you are trying to do, you're working and you're trying to trade two at the same time. He allocated a couple hours a day. He isolated it. His wife was pregnant. He's got a child. So if you have personal things going on in your house, you've got to manage that because it's important. I had a guy in Hawaii, and his wife was a realtor. She did something in real estate, title searches. And he says, do you think it's a problem? my wife keeps coming in asking me how I'm doing. I said, no. Tell her to stop. Lock the door. Do not let her in. Tell her if she has an emergency that she can slip a note under the door and let you know if something is wrong. Do a little tap, tap, tap. Put the note under the door. Do not have her ask you during the day how you're doing. That's the worst thing that could happen. That's a whole other topic of telling your spouse about your trading day. One of my rules is never talk to anybody about trading who doesn't trade. That's one of my rules. One of my rules.
Yeah. A lot of folks don't understand it, don't get it. They just think it's, gambling or whatever it is. And nothing could be further from the truth. So, you mentioned, one of your traders was only working a couple hours a day because he had other things to do. And I find that people that have kind of limited time to trade are really trying to force a lot into that limited time to trade, that 2 hours. So I only got 2 hours to trade. So I got to find something. I got to find something here. And I think that creates probably some pretty uncomfortable situations when you're, kind of demanding something within a time frame of a market and you're not getting it. I tell people you have to wait for your setup. It doesn't matter if it doesn't come in your 2 hour window, then you don't do anything. Because that's really kind of being a trader. So Robin, we got some questions here. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Shotgun.
Rapid fire questions. All right. So Tushar is asking, how do I learn to take a small loss now to avoid a larger loss later? Because I'm dollar cost averaging my losers. Is there a smart way to dollar cost average to avoid taking too many losses? Tushar, I don't know what Robin says about it, but there's a thin line between adding to a loser and accumulating an inventory in a zone. If you're dollar cost averaging just because you're losing money on the trade and you want to lower your average entry price, that's usually a bad sign. Robin, what do you think of this question?
Yep, I have another rule: never double down on a losing trade, especially if you're new and you're in the beginning. You can adjust that later on in your career, but you have to have consistency, stability, and certainty before you do that. In the beginning, don't do it. You'll save more money in the long run. That's my advice to especially new people and when I say new, I'm talking 1 to 6 years. That's new to me. Beyond that, you're like in the intermediate stage. But even though in that stage, I tell people, don't double down on a losing trade. You'll just lose faster. It's not worth it.
In the pit we called those, moron trades. Trade goes against you, you just put more on.
Yeah, you don't want to do
I
that. You don't want to do
hope that helps you. Hope that helps you, Tushar. All right, T-Bone. My biggest issue is exiting a trade when it is in profit and it starts to turn. My mind tells me this is coming all the way back, but I fail to react. Any good tips on overcoming this? So that's the pullback issue that one of your traders you just mentioned was talking about. What do you say to T-Bone?
Yeah. Okay, so when a trade, you're going to have pullbacks in a particular bar. It's going to depend on the time frame that you're using. If you hit your goal, take your profit. Take your profit. What's the worst thing that happens? You get in again and you get in at a price and you've locked in cash? I mean, lock it in. I call lock it in, lock it in, lock it in. So a good way to, if it does a pullback, that tells me that trader might not be reading the market properly, or his indicators are not allowing him to have those little pullbacks and be calm through them, because you're going to have them. You're going to have those pullbacks. You just don't want to have big ones. And if you screw up and it pulls back too much, lock in any kind of profit. Don't let it go negative. Don't let a winning trade go negative. That's another rule I have. Don't let a winning trade go negative. Lock in. I don't care if it's 12.50. Don't let it go negative on you. You'll feel better that you close the trade. You can always get in. You can always get back in.
Well, you say a lot of those pullbacks are just the market breathing.
Right.
Just the market taking a
So
breath.
when you have a trend going on, you'll go down, 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 down. The picture, it's different. Down, 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 and you have a breath. And the breath comes from, if everybody's selling, 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 the breath is the people buying and locking in their profits. And then it goes down again, and then they have another breath. Now, is that going to happen all the time? No. But the market tends to breathe in a trend direction, up or down. So buying, 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 sell off a little bit. Buying, 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 sell off a little bit. So you've got to know your market and how it works, and you can tell the difference between a breath and a reversal. If you don't know that, that means you don't know how to read the market. So reading the market and reading the bars that you're working on, the time frame, is very important. The higher the time frame, the less the emotion. The smaller the time frame, the greater the emotion. And sometimes the smaller time frames can give you what I call tidbits, the things that are happening in the moment, what traders are doing in the moment based on what they're buying and selling. So I have a tendency to, I call it my 100 trade guys. Every 100 trades, it gives me a bar. And I see what they're doing in the moment, even though I trade off the 5. I see what they're doing in the moment. And if my 100 trade guys, if I'm going short and I start seeing my 100 trade guys doing some buying, then I go, I got to see if I'm going to see where they stop buying and they switch back to selling. And so when they switch back to selling, then I hold on to the trade. If they don't, then I watch my chart, my 5-minute. If it's taking out highs, I'm out of there, because you got to read whatever chart that you're trading from. The detail just gives you in the moment what's going on.
Do you find sometimes that looking at that fine a detail might give you some false signals?
Of course. I mean, if you're not used to it, a lot of people can't trade the way I trade, because I watch all the detail. I watch time and sales, and I watch in the dome the order flow in the inside market. And I have my time and sales set. If they buy or sell outside the inside market, that's an indication they really, really want it. So I'm watching that like a hawk. And that detail alone allows me to decide, is it a rotation in the market, or are they continuing? Are they eating up all those orders on the bid or the ask? And I watch that detail. A lot of people cannot deal with that. It's very intense. It's crazy. I mention it to people, but I don't teach that, because it takes you years to get the feel for that. I can't live without it. I learned that way. I learned on time and sales. I never had charts. So I can't live without time and sales. That's my security blanket.
Okay. All right. So we've dealt with traders that, are having difficult times on pullbacks. Okay. They're long, the market's going their way. They get a little pullback. They get a little bit freaked out. What about the other side of that coin? They're long. They get to their profit target and the market goes another 100 points their direction. What do you say to somebody who kind of looks back at that and says, I was long, and look what I left on the table. They had a profit target. They reached it.
Get back in. You see a little pullback, just say, I locked in my profit. Do I have more? Where are we going? What's the market telling me? We're in these new all-time highs. You've got to do these extended fibs, because you don't have any kind of data to hold on to going up when there's nothing there. We haven't been in this place for years, for years and years and years. So you've got to do an extended fib or something, and it's kind of a guesstimation. It's not solid because there's nothing there to hold on to. But you can't sit there and look at it setting up again and not get in again. Get in.
Right.
Get in. Lock
Yeah.
in the cash and
I mean,
get in.
I mean, it's a successful trade. It did what you wanted. You didn't know what was going to happen after that. You shouldn't feel a loss for missing a part of it, even if you do get in and get the continuation. You're in. You're good. You're good. All right. Thank you.
That's thinking backwards.
Yeah.
That, with what you just said, is thinking backwards.
Thinking
And that's the
backwards.
problem. You've got to think forward. Where's the opportunity? What could I get next? What do I see? I'll wait for a small pullback and then I'll get in again. If it doesn't work, I'll get out at this level. I won't give back my money. Lock it in. I put sometimes four contracts out, and I put them at each level, and I call it lock and load. And so when it hits the bottom one and it takes it out and locks in the profit, I load it up again, and it goes to the top of that list. When the next one gets hit and I lock in cash, I put in another one. I just have my cursor on the buy, and I call it lock and load. So lock it in, load it up. Lock it in, load it up. What's the worst thing that happens? I have my cursor on the close button, and I close all my trades. The other thing I do is also a leapfrog. I call it a leapfrog, where I take the bottom order of the four. If I see it starting to run towards my number and going in my direction, I leapfrog it up to the top. I leapfrog it up to the top. I move them up that way. And I'll wait till they all hit. I have a place where I know I'm going to get out, and I let them hit one by one. And I call that one a leapfrog. So I leapfrog, or I lock and load. Lock in the cash, guys. Lock in the cash when it's there. You don't have to wait for 10 points on some of these moves. You can have several trades on the way to the 10 points. On the way up, you will feel better locking in cash at the end of that run than you will holding on to it, letting it work against you, going into fear, closing it and not getting in again, and letting it go to where it really wanted to go to. You'll feel worse.
All right. Next question. Rebel trades. How do you know when you're in the right mindset to size up in your trading?
How do you know if you're in the right? Are you winning? That's the first question. Would be, are you winning at your trades? You can do a game. Again, you're the trader. You can make any rules you want. Create a game for yourself that works. If you start with one contract, if it's a mini and that works, and it works several times, say, okay, I have to have 5 trades. And after I have 5 trades at one contract, I'll add 2. On the next trade, take the 2. Oh, this is a good point, actually. I'll do 2. And then on the next trade, don't do 2, go back to 1. If you're winning, you go to 2, and you win. Even if you win, go back to 1. I call this technique putting your toe in the water. The stress of increasing size is an emotional stress that people get when they increase size. So to avoid the stress, go in, come back out, put your toe in the water. If the water's too cold, get out of there. Don't go back to 1. Give yourself, again, 5 trades at 1, go to 2, try it, and then go back. Anything you can do. Don't lock because you switch to 2 or 3 or 4. You don't have to do that every time because you set it in your computer. You can go back. So do it and come back out. Toe in the water. Just test it out. You like that one?
Yeah,
Toe in the water.
I do. And you're right. I mean, adding risk to your trading plan, to any of your strategies, it takes getting used to. I like the idea of sticking your toe in the water from time to time to kind of build that muscle to be able to deal with the added risk of that trade. But one thing that I always tell people is when you're thinking about sizing up, don't go from 1 to 5. The biggest jump you should take in risk is going from 1 to 2 contracts. It doubles your risk. You get comfortable with that, go from 2 to 3. That only adds a third again as
Exactly.
much risk. When you
That's a
get
great
comfortable with
point.
that, then add another one, and that's another quarter again as much of the risk. So it is something that takes time, and it's something that requires you build that muscle, even if it's just intestinal fortitude to be trading
Yeah.
bigger.
But don't
Right.
increase size to get back your money. Increase size because you're winning and you're ready. Know yourself. Know yourself. All the lessons that I've been doing all these months have been to learn who you are as a trader. Everybody in the room there, everybody that's listening, every one of you are different. You're all different. You have to figure out who you are, what you can deal with, where you get your emotions to kick in, how to control them, and you're the one that has to define it. I can give suggestions along the way, and that's what I do during the coaching to work with you. I don't try to teach people how I do it. I look at them emotionally, see what they're dealing with. That's why I take so much time with the forms, even though the questions are the same. I look at it every time, and it's a different read on the person, because I have set that up in a particular way so that each question leads me to the next situation of the trader in their head. And I can tell how it's developing as they go down through the questionnaire. That's why I can't do a blank one and just hand it out to everybody, because everybody's different. So everybody's got different challenges. Figure out who you are. The market is what it is. You can't change the market. You can read the market. You can have an idea of where the market's going, but it's not 100%, or we would all be trading it that way.
Awesome.
Next.
Just kind of looking at the markets here. We got the ES just put in a new session low. Nasdaq not quite yet, but gold has flatlined. We're getting a little bit of a move higher in crude oil after looking below that initial balance low. But there's just a quick look at what's going on in the markets right now. Next question is from Shubham. Shubham, how can I use journaling in a structured way to break out of the performance impulse loop, where I know what works and what not, but I still keep repeating the same mistakes? I'm very interested in Robin in hearing what you have to say about how to journal. There's lots of different ways to journal, lots of different things to be thinking about and writing about. But what would you say to Shubham about journaling? Maybe the best way to journal might be a good way to kind of work on his performance/impulse loop.
Well, I attempted that journaling group. It was too time consuming for me, so I had to disband that. But I tend to look at the quality of the trade, not necessarily the numbers. And so I suggest that you look at a losing trade. What did you do? Look at the entry, look at the management, look at the exit. Where did you make the errors? If you even just track that every single time, do you have to work on your exits? Do you keep getting stopped out? Do you keep moving to a profit target as you trade and it keeps hitting your stop that way? So are you repeating the same error? And if you're repeating the same error, what do you need to change? And then incorporate that. Tracking just the number, I don't think helps anybody. I made $100 today, $50 I lost there. What does it tell you? You get a number at the end of the week. What does that tell you? You've got to look at the quality of your trade and where you're making the error. And then look at where people are successfully managing that part of the trade. You got 3 parts: entry, management, exit. So look at what part of the 3 that you're having your challenge and focus on it and make some try things. Try things in sim. You don't have to try things live. Try it in micros and in sim, and then see if it works. Once you get something to work, incorporate it.
Robin, would you suggest for somebody who's journaling that kind of stuff, the quality of the trade, to add a little bit of emotional information as well, like how they're feeling at entry,
Sure.
during the management, and at
Absolutely.
exit, maybe even afterwards. I think there's a lot to glean from that. I mean,
I think in the moment, just as the trader that I talked about, he was telling me exactly what was happening mentally in the moment. I think that's excellent to do. I think that's a great point. So mentally, what was happening in the moment was it you have you got the three parts to look at: entry, management, and exit. But you have an emotional part and a technical part. So was the error emotional, or was it technical, or was it a combination of the two? Because that will form it. When the case study talked about hesitation, apprehensive, he started to go into that he was having a lot of self-doubt about himself when he was doing the losing. He was beating himself up. He was not in control. And so every loser was a snowball effect for him. And so that was affecting him emotionally. That affected the next trade. So yes, I think adding the emotional part for that Hogue is absolutely perfect. And documenting it if you can.
Yeah. And review it. Refeel
And then
those trades at the end of the
coaching,
day.
you can't get over it.
You might find something that you're going to be able to use in that.
Exactly.
Monica asks, do you have any suggestions for someone who has a tough time shorting the market, specifically the ES?
Oh my God, I love shorting. I'm the short crazy
We
person.
all do. The money comes faster.
I mean, the market's so high now. I'm waiting for today I didn't get a chance to trade because I was working on this and I wanted to be sure we were in a good place. So I didn't trade this morning. And when I saw the move, when they had the charts up before I came on, I was like, oh, I missed that down move. That was my favorite. This is ready to turn. This is, we're at the place. It can't go any higher, but it does. So can't go any higher, can't go any higher. There's going to be a rotation somewhere. Something's going to happen, an event. Why you must have your stops in, because when this thing rotates, it could be a real swift down move. It's fascinating to watch. I remember in the old days we had Bernanke, and it was that's how far back I go. Bernanke, yep. And everybody would go, what's his suitcase? What's he carrying in his suitcase? The Bernanke suitcase of the day. That was in the 80s. These guys.
He was carrying crackers.
That's what he was doing.
Crackers. That's all.
So, but everybody would watch it. And now with Powell and this, oil and water with Powell and Trump, who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what's going to happen? And Trump's making things happen every day. You never know. You never know. It's fascinating. It's a very exciting market. You guys are really lucky. We had Biden time where it was horrible. I could not trade during Biden for the life of me. And I consider myself a decent trader. I don't consider myself the best trader, but I'm certainly a decent trader. I could not read those markets during Biden. I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. Before he got in, I was making $1,000 a day. I could not make my money when he came into the market.
Strange.
I can't even. It was 4 years of pain, absolute pain for me. It was really. It really is amazing. You guys are really, really fortunate. That's why you have to be in control, know who you are, and set your disciplines and work on them. Lock in your profits. Lock in your profits. There's another trade around the corner.
Monica, just so you know, my dad was at the Board of Trade for 40 years. I grew up walking around the trading floor of the Chicago Board of Trade. When I got my job on the trading floor, I didn't understand what being short meant. But Dad, how can I sell something that I don't own? And he looked at me like he had this look, and I knew what was going on in his head. It was, why, you asshole? You don't have to buy it first. As long as you sell it first and buy it later, you can make that profit. You sold it at 8, you bought it at 6, you just made $2. Makes sense?
Does Monica?
Yes.
Does Monica not understand? Wait, does Monica not understand shorting, or she just doesn't like it?
Monica, I think that most people don't understand shorting because, I mean, 80% of the stock eating world is buy side only,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
I mean, you have to, for me, the reason I like it, the market falls faster than it goes up. So I love shorts because I call it a whoosh because it'll whoosh through a bar, whoosh, whoosh.
Yes.
I love those whooshes, so a way to get over that, Monica, would be take a piece of paper and write down what's great about shorting. And create as many lines as you can on the page. What's great about shorting? Ask
Money
people
comes
in the room.
faster.
Money comes faster. You can get these whooshes. And it falls faster than it goes up. And when you get used, I usually have people say, I can't stop shorting. I can't go long. I usually have the reverse. I usually have traders come into me and say, I can't, I'm just a short addict. I can't seem to take a long. And so that's a little bit harder to turn around. But shorting, just what's great about shorting? What's great about it? And when you watch a few times and you try it a few times, try it with the micros and just try it a few times. Lock in the cash. Lock in the cash. Get to like it. Do the wins. Short. It's coming up now. It's coming up. So you got to get ready for this, Monica.
Well, this might help Monica. It might help others too. There's two types of auctions. There's the English auction, where whatever is being sold is priced and people compete and bring price higher and higher until the last person buys it. Then the sale happens. The Dutch auction is whatever's being sold is priced too high, and the price is lowered and lowered and lowered and lowered and lowered and lowered until the first person buys it. Kind of like equities. Nobody's left to buy it, so that Dutch auction comes in and it falls fast and falls fast and falls fast until it finds those buyers. Then that Dutch auction is over. That might help just a little bit.
You could watch Trading Places. Watch the Eddie Murphy movie Trading Places. That'll show you shorts.
Such a great scene.
That's a great movie. A great movie.
Now you have a couple of challenges and a bonus.
Yep.
I think we may have. Yeah, why don't we do that? I think we're in good shape here, and we might end this session on time today, Robin, which I'm not used to with you.
Okay, but it's a
we're staying late.
Action-packed session though. It's a good session. We didn't lose the connection. Yay. Okay.
Yay.
So I want to give you two challenges. I want you to think about anything or anyone that you have unfinished business with. Something that you have unfinished business. It's like a thorn in your hand and you haven't taken it out. Some unfinished business. I want you to take the challenge on to finish that business before our next session. And I'm going to ask people what it was that they completed. Is it a person you should have called? A person you should have apologized to? Something you should have done? Is there anything that you have unfinished business with that you need to finish? And take on that challenge and finish it.
It's like an AA thing, right? If there's somebody you've wronged, you have to go apologize to them. There's any unfinished business. Okay. Excellent.
Any unfinished business. Take the challenge on. Okay. And the next one is, what do you need to let go of for yourself in trading? What must you let go of that is hampering your trading right now? What must you let go of? And I know you can find that one. That's a good topic for next time too. What did you let go of for yourself as a trader? Let it go. Because if it doesn't serve you and it doesn't help your trading and it doesn't help you move forward, it's not worth it. Let it go. What do you need let go of? I see you thinking. I see the
This
steam
is
coming out of your ears.
absolutely. I mean, this is fantastic. There's always things that we leave unfinished, right? There's unfinished business, and I think in everybody's life and in their business, and some people even in families, there's so much to
Yep.
this. I mean, if you really think about it, I could probably come up with quite a long list of unfinished business, and then things that I need to leave behind as well. Uh, I'm
You have
I'm
to examine.
older than most of these folks, so I may have a
Yep.
longer list, but I think this is a really cool exercise, and I hope everybody kind of checks it out and gives it a try. Because all those things are just they're like sandbags holding you down.
Is it worth it? Sometimes you give up many, many years. I give these pieces of advice, so to speak, or coaching because I've gone through them myself. There's nothing I give you guys that I haven't gone through myself and had really, really huge lessons with. My mother and I were like oil and water, but she ended up becoming my best friend. I ended up being her caregiver at the end. My brother and I hadn't talked for years. He was the perfect son. I was always the black sheep. And we finally made up a year ago. So, and all that time was wasted. When I saw him, I haven't seen him for about 15 years. I talked to him, but I hadn't seen him. When I saw him, I was in such shock at how old he had gotten. He's 6 years older than I am. And I was devastated. So I gave up all that time of not having my brother in my life. He's my only family right now. And I gave it up. I gave up all that time up. Don't waste the years that you have. They go by so fast. And you'll say, why didn't I fix that? And it's usually something you can't even remember. That's what's even
Right.
worse. You can't
Right.
even remember. You just got into the pattern of being unhappy or disliking it, and fix it. It's not worth it. It's not worth
If
it.
it's not going to
Okay,
matter in
and
6 months, don't even worry about it.
exactly. My last thing is that I am doing a bonus special for anybody this week that decides they want to do coaching, and it's good through only till Friday, where you get a $200 off the normal 3-pack coaching session. And again, there are quite a few people that have done surveys. They have an extra bonus because it took me a while to get those questionnaires done. If I do something incorrectly in my coaching, I always make up for it. So I was delayed in getting those surveys back, so I gave them a little bit of an extra bonus. But if you're in the room now till Friday, and that's the 22nd, I believe. Yeah, 22nd. If you contact me by the 22nd, you can call me. In the meantime, ask me, what coaching's about, or ask me any questions. I'm happy to talk to you, and you qualify for that $200 bonus.
Okay,
If you have any
I
questions,
just
just
put the
email me
I
anyway.
just put the link in for your email and your phone number. You are brave. I got to tell you, you're putting your phone number on there. But that's quite a good deal, folks. Check it out. I put it in there a couple of times. Click the link, and take advantage of
I want to help
this.
you
This
guys.
is
I
very
want to
nice.
help you guys. I want to help you guys. I love trading. I love working with traders. I feel that I've been very successful in turning many around. There's quite a few you can ask in the room. They've done coaching already. You can ask them how it's been. I give always 110%. I give more than you expect, and it will serve you throughout your trading career, throughout your entire career.
Awesome. Well, Robin, again, thank you very much for joining us today. As always, it's a pleasure. You are the boss. Love it when you're here with us, and you always bring such good content and such good ideas and good thoughts and good mindset for us. So we'll look forward to your next trip here. And as always, blessings to you. Folks, stick around. We've got Power Hour coming out. Should be a fun one. Trade well,
I
everybody. And
love you
remember,
guys.
Top Step Trader. Thank you, Robin, again. And stick around. Let's go.
Liquid Death sold these for $450 on their website. Ozzy Osbourne has drinking out of each of these cans, leaving his DNA, his saliva on the lid. And once the government approves the legalization of cloning, you too can have your own Ozzy Osbourne.
Listen, I'm not paying $450 for some Ozzy Osbourne
Clones.
DNA, but I might pay that for Sydney Sweeney's soap, you know?
I don't want to forget about Jay's birthday today. Happy birthday, Jay. It is your birthday.
Happy birthday. Everyone show Jay some love.
Happy
Look at
birthday. We
this.
love you, man.
Birthday suit. A birthday suit. Wow.
Still making money, and that's where I'm at this point in my trading career. I don't want drama. I just want something that moves nicely and calmly. Granny D, you know. And copper right now ticks that box for me.
Eddie, welcome to Fast Markets. I'm sure you're all thrilled just to see me and Dolby on the screen right now. We're a few seconds.
But we got Dolby and Hogue joining me for Trade with Topstep just to hang out for a bit. And we are looking at the markets right now. And welcome back, everybody. It's Power Hour, and we have Mr. Salmon himself.
Yeah, if I didn't exit, I will lose more than $300 in this trade. So I saved money, losing only less than 100.
All right, there's the first take profit.
It's tough. This is tough. If you're wrong at entry, don't be wrong at exit.
Greetings, traders. This is Coach Robert with another episode of TopstepX in 5 minutes or less. In this video, we will review the settings for the personal daily loss limit and the personal daily profit target. They will show up here in this bar next to the daily loss limit. Under the settings area, under the risk tab, right in the center, we have the personal daily loss limit and the personal daily profit target. This is a 50K Combine account, which would have a daily loss limit of $1,000. But if we wanted to stop and lock ourselves out before then, let's make it $500. Be sure to choose the action. It's currently set to do nothing, but we can have a choice to either liquidate the positions or liquidate the positions and also block the account from being traded any longer that day. This is a good choice for the daily loss limit. Be sure to hit save, and you'll see the new personal daily loss limit is set to $500. We can also set a personal daily profit target to avoid overtrading. Let's make this $250. Again, the action is to do nothing, to liquidate position, or liquidate and block. Let's choose liquidate and block. By saving, we can now see them at the top. If you do not want these to be displayed, but still be active, there is a privacy area, and we can show or hide our loss limits, such as this here. Daily loss limit, it will be hidden, and of course, we can hide the rest of these as well. So let's unhide. We can go back. Now we are back to our trading panel. That concludes the settings for the personal daily loss limit and the personal daily profit target.
All right, traders, it is the moment you've all been waiting for, our AMA session with Dr. Brett Steenbarger. First, you know me, you know Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie is my co-host and the author of the trading book, as well as the book, the trading book workbook. Anne-Marie is my emotional support person here today. Thank you very much, Anne-Marie, for that. And finally, folks, our guest here is Dr. Brett Steenbarger. Dr. Steenbarger is a professor of psychiatry at SUNY, Upstate Medical University in Syracuse, New York. He's the author of several books, several blogs, several articles. If you don't know about him, you're going to learn a lot today. I can tell you that much. But some of his books, The Psychology of Trading, Enhancing Trader Performance, which I keep handy on my deck because I'm a trader that always needs performance enhancing. We've got the Day Trading Coach. We've got a Trader's Guide to Self-Discipline. If you have not seen his blog, it is fantastic. It is traderfeed.blogspot.com. Always some really good stuff on there. I've got some questions from the blog right here, but we're going to focus on your questions first. Dr. Steenbarger, how are you? How have you been? Happy 2025. We're so happy to have you with us. How are things going for you?
Busy. Happy 2025. There are a lot of cross currents in markets, a lot going on because of political changes in the U.S. and the potential impacts that might have not only for us, but for the countries we trade with. And so that's very much affected the flow of funds from hedge funds and larger institutions, which affects the markets we look at. So it's been a challenging time and a busy time so far in the new year. Right. And by the way, Hogue, I have a new book that will be coming out this year called Positive Trading Psychology. And it's the application of positive psychology, the study of our strengths, and how we can apply our strengths, what we're really good at, how we can best apply that to our trading. So instead of just trying to correct our mistakes and our weaknesses, who are we at our best? What do we do really, really well? And how can we bring that more and more and more into our trading?
Love that.
Well, you beat me to it. I was just going to bring up the 2025. You have a new book coming out. Thank you for letting us know about that. And Anne Marie, how are you? You ready for the questions? And we'll see what happens here.
Absolutely. I'm so excited that you have questions from the blog too, because I'm an avid reader of that blog, and I've been an avid reader of that blog, I bet, for 15 years. I've been reading that blog. So website address has never changed.
There is a library of things to read in that blog. Absolutely. All right. Without further ado, I've got all the questions, and I've kind of grouped them into sort of categories. The first category I think we're going to address is about practice and emotions. James is part of the question, and I'm going to add Eric to this as well. Thank you for visiting us, Dr. Steenbarger, of course. The question is, they say you shouldn't trade on sim too long, that it could be detrimental to your trading. Do you think there would be any risk of detrimental side effects if we traded in combines, trading combines too long? In my case, I've been trading in combines for a few years before passing my first one. And Eric kind of adds, I think, a little bit something to this question. In his question, how do we ignore the money part of trading and take emotion out of the way? Big questions.
Yeah. The issue of sim and combines, it's very, very important to make all our mistakes when we are least financially vulnerable. And so there's real value in that practice process. Now, obviously, at some point, we develop some good practices and we have to put real money on the line and deal with the real emotions of having real money at risk. So we can't stay in simulation mode forever. But the audience might be surprised to hear that even very successful traders that I've worked with at hedge funds, when they start trading a new instrument or when they start trading a new strategy, they go into sim. Here they've been successful for years and years and years and years, but they are not too proud to go back to being a noob and making all their mistakes and getting a feel for the markets and the strategies they're trading. And then they, of course, ramp it up in terms of the risk taking in a step-by-step way. So not only is it important to trade in practice mode until you get that competence, as you learn and do new things, you may need to return to that practice mode.
No shame in going back to practice, especially when working on some sort of new strategy or new product, something like that. Anne Marie, do you find often that you will kind of return to practice or a trading combine when you're trying to learn some new
Absolutely.
strategy or something like this?
That's where I absolutely go. Every time I'm trading out a new idea, I slip into a combine and I go, all right, let me see how this works. What kind of risk do I have? What kind of drawdown am I looking at? Where are my mechanical flows in the right way? So 100%, I do that all the time.
No shame in it. No shame in it,
Yeah,
right? All right.
not at all.
Michael has a question. And I think Michael is really a lucky trader because he knows exactly what his mistakes are. And that's what he says. I know exactly what my mistakes are, and I have clear trading rules. Yet I keep falling back into impulsive decisions. How can I prevent my emotions from tempting me to break my well established rules and develop long term discipline to stick to my plan without exceptions? Now, Doctor, this was one of the things that I was taking out of your blog. You have a little saying, you know, the little blocks of sayings in there, and it says confidence is silent. Insecurities are loud. I've always said that impulses yell at us. Intuition whispers. Do you think that this might be something that Michael could be dealing with?
Yeah, I like that last part, Hogue, about intuition
Yeah.
whispering, because when we are emotional and we're carrying on, we can no longer hear that voice of intuition. And very often, it's that intuition that first alerts us to the patterns that are setting up, creating the trading opportunity. So it's so important not to maintain a positive mindset, certainly not to maintain a negative mindset, but to maintain a focused mindset. Now, I'll address the question in two different ways. One is there are people who have chronic problems with attention. It's a condition that occurs. We've all heard of attention deficit disorder or ADHD if there's a hyperactivity component, but people vary in their impulsivity. And sometimes they need professional help for that. There are medications that help, and there are exercises that can train our focus. I've written about biofeedback, for instance. So it's important to figure out, is this attention and impulse control issue something that occurs only in trading, or does it occur in other parts of my life? If you're seeing it in other life areas, it may be a more general issue that you'd want to get professional help for. So that's the first thing.
So,
The second,
Doctor,
go
ahead, please.
Well, the second thing is it's one thing to have a good process, to have trading rules, but if you've read Dr. Atul Gawande's book, The Checklist Manifesto, the idea here is that it's not enough just to have general rules. You have to actually codify them in a checklist and make sure that you're following each item of the checklist as you make your decision. A good example would be the pilot or pilots, pilot and co-pilot who are about to take off on a flight, cross-country flight, and they have to check all the mechanical systems, they have to check the fuel, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they have a checklist to do that, because if they miss one thing, it could really impair the flight. So you want to be like them and have a checklist for how you generate ideas, how you translate those ideas into trades, how you size those trades, how you manage the risk, how you take profits, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Once that's written down, you can follow that step by step. It helps keep us focused.
Of course, that makes complete sense. I mean, we tell people all the time that they have to have a plan. They have to be as close to if this, then that type of situations when we're thinking about taking a trade. Anne-Marie, you've known me for a long time, and you've probably heard me say 100 times that the best trades seem to be harder to take. It's the trades that scare me a little bit, that are where I'm maybe feeling that intuition, versus the trades that I'm getting yelled at just to take because I'm afraid I'm going to miss something. Do you find, Anne-Marie, that some of the better trades you take are the ones that frighten you a little bit, and those are the ones where you're kind of feeling that intuition?
That's a really good question. I think more often it's the impulse control that I end up coming to. It's the, oh my gosh, I got to take this trade. And your words just a second ago, intuition whispers and impulse yells.
Yes.
That's 100% what happens to me. If something's yelling at me, I go, you better sit on your hands for just a hot minute.
Exactly. That's when it looks like a layup to me, it's probably going to be a bad trade. And it's those layups that yell at you, don't they?
Yeah.
All right. Doctor, moving on from some of the practice and emotions, I've got a category here: greed, fear, and regret. And Sue asks, can you discuss the role of greed in trading and how it leads to losses? And she says, of course, thank you for taking my question.
Happy to take the question. It's a good question. Greed comes from need. In other words, I get greedy because I need profits. Now, maybe I need profits financially. Maybe my personal situation is vulnerable in the financial sense, or maybe I need profits because I'm not feeling all that great about myself in other parts of my life, and I need that for validation. But greed comes from need. There's some need that we're trying to fill with our market activity. Now, if we're trading partly out of personal need, then what's the one thing we can't do? We can't not trade. If our trading is meeting our needs, we have to trade. We have to make money. And that greed keeps us not only trading, but over trading. So the idea is to step back from the greed to say, okay, what are my needs and how can I get those met outside of markets so that I can just focus on what is happening in the markets in order to find my opportunity.
I'd like to ask
Now,
a follow-up question there, Hoke, if that's okay. How
please
do
do.
I know the difference between my needs and my wants and how those drive my behavior?
From my perspective, they feel completely different. My want is to trade well. My want is a process goal. It's not a need that's churning within me. And because I have the want of a process goal, I'm free to not trade if nothing is setting up. But if I'm feeling an urge, a need, an emotional pull, then to satisfy that, I've got to trade. And that leads to the overtrading.
Thank you.
Would you say, I mean, everybody's different, right? And there's lots of personal needs that people feel that they need. And if they taking those personal needs and bringing them into trading, that's of course going to be a problem on its own. But if you get down to the real basics, would you say that having an income stream outside of trading may be able to alleviate some of that need to make money in trading and allow you to be a little bit less needy in your trading or greedy?
I'll be interested in your take on this, Anne Marie. I learned trading while I had a full-time income, and it took all the pressure off because then I was free to make the normal mistakes that a new trader makes. And I also didn't have the pressure of needing to make income to support a spouse and to support a family. So having a secure income or savings while I'm learning the ropes, that took away, I'm sure, 3/4 of the emotional pressure that I otherwise would have felt.
Yeah, that's a
I
great answer.
attended bar for 8 years when I was learning how to trade, just to make
Yeah.
sure the bills were paid. Just to make sure the bills were paid. Anne Marie, what are your thoughts?
Well, for me, I started with a ton of money. And I said, how hard could this be? Because I'd had 2 successful careers. I parlayed them. I'd lived well below my means. I always have lived well below my means, always saved a lot. And I thought, oh, this is my next adventure. I'm gonna be successful at the first pass, and it's gonna be nice and easy. And my desire to be a winning trader created a lot of very bad habits. And so I didn't have a financial need, but I had a physical, emotional need to go, I'm Little Miss Hotshot Trader. And it would make me expand my risk. And so that element there really ends up being the same thing. But my want was well outside of what I needed. I didn't need the money because I'd lived well below my means for years, and I had a lot of it. And I said, oh, okay, well, this is my next step. This is what I want to do. And so I was just all about, how can I be Miss Hotshot Trader? And then I realized I didn't know how to trade. Shouldn't really go in that direction.
You were used to seeing success in everything that you had done. And when it
Yes.
came time to trading, you thought, well, I've always been successful. I'm going to be a
Exactly.
master at this. And it's far more difficult. They
Yeah.
say it's the most difficult way to make easy money. And eventually
I would
everybody
agree.
seems to find that out, right?
I would agree.
All right. Peggy has a question. A little similar but different than the previous one. Hi, Brett. I have a hard time taking profits, always thinking it could go higher. Also, regretting when it does. Please help. I'm thinking regretting if it does go higher. Are you making too much money on these trades, Peggy? Kind of
Maybe he's
my thought
closing
about how I
out.
read this question.
Well, a number of the portfolio managers I work with, it's not an all or none thing, and they set first targets, second targets, third targets, and they will exit as the trade goes their way. They'll exit a third of the position, a third of the position, a third of the position, for example. And so what happens is they take profits on a part of their position quickly. They move their stop up at that point to break even. And then the remaining 2/3 of the position are sort of like a call option. They're either will make money or, that could get stopped out. But they've already taken profits on a piece. And
Mhm.
so they are, in a sense, if you think about this, they are diversifying by volatility. What I mean by that is if we are in a lower volatility market environment or a lower volatility move, then the position goes our way and can easily retrace. In a low vol market, we're not going to extend and extend and extend with Momo.
Mhm.
So part of their position is positioning for lower volatility, but part of their position is positioning for the momentum move. So they're diversified in that respect. Now, could they have made more money by just holding on to the whole thing? Yes. Could
Right.
they have taken profits on the whole thing? Yes. But they rehearse a mindset where it's best to be diversified, take some profits quickly. Good enough is good enough. And the goal is consistency of profitability, not absolute profitability.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
I've never
gold.
heard it put that way.
Yeah,
Absolute
right?
profitability.
Yeah.
That's
I
very,
know.
very interesting.
Gold. Yeah.
All right. Here's one, Fernando, and it's still kind of in the fear and greed and fear and regret kind of segment here. We're going to move on from that, I think, a little bit here shortly. But Fernando, I grew up poor and still have innate fear of losing money when it comes to live markets, but also wish to become more psychologically in tune to not being so fearful and greedy when I do start stepping closer to profitability. What are some of the mental exercises that I could use during my trading process to help me keep my mindset present and not stuck in the past and future? Present, staying in the present.
Yeah, and
Any
that staying in
thoughts?
that staying in the present is something we practice when we're in simulation mode and so forth and so on. And that can be very, very helpful. But I'm going to respond from a different angle. And this is something I think we touched upon in a previous program. And that is, and this is related to the positive psychology that my new book will be on. It's called a solution focused approach. In a solution focused approach, study your best winning trades. Now, I hear you loudly and clearly. There are lots of trades where you're getting frustrated, you're not trading well, but not every trade is a disaster. Not every trade is filled with negative emotion. When you are profitable, when you trade in a focused way, you want to study what you did right. How did I do that? How did I not get distracted by greed or fear? How did I take profits at the right time? It's what we do when we're successful that defines what we call our best practices. And so working on ourselves is not correcting the negative, but doing more and more and more and more and becoming more and more consistent with what we are already doing well. We're just not doing enough of it. But what we're doing well, we want to learn from that and build upon that foundation.
Accentuate the positive.
Build on that. That's you. Those are your strengths. Build on those.
It's got to be. I mean, I had the benefit of having a couple of trading psychologists in the past, and it was always kind of drilled into my head. Don't just focus on what you're doing wrong. Focus on what you're doing right. Maximize those. If you sit there and think about all the things you're doing wrong, it's depressing. Give yourself a break. Think about some of the things that you're doing well. Fantastic question. This person is Michael, and he's wondering if he should quit trading. he's passed untold number of trading combines. When he gets to the XFA, usually only lasts 2 days, the longest maybe 4. He's only had one payout, which has probably been exceeded by the number of accounts and resets that he's had. Usually when I throw on a trade, I find myself in profit, $700 to $1,100, but I hold it because I don't want to exit early due to cowardice. But I go from being in profit to having the trade turn back on me to the point where it goes negative. What's my deal? Should I quit trading? If you're trading multiples, Michael, I can tell you right now, I think that the doctor may say, take profit off on part of the way to your target there and see what happens with the rest. Maybe that would be something that would help, doctor?
Yeah, absolutely, Hogan. And if he's doing well during the combine, then again, he wants to study the hell out of what he's doing well and create rules around that, because that's what he's going to bring to his subsequent trading. What's happening is it would be the equivalent of a player in practice, a football player or a basketball player in practice who's doing the right thing. And then in the game, they get caught up in the score and how much they're going to win by, and they stop doing all the right things. So you want to really, really drill and drill and drill what you're doing right when you're successful in the combine, so that those become very concrete standard rules that lay the foundation for your consistency once you're trading more of your own capital.
When you can make real money.
Yeah.
So it's
the rule of the general rule is build your consistency first, then build your trading size. That definitely happens at the hedge funds where I work. They assess your consistency of trading, and then they give you more capital, and they give you more capital, and they give you more capital. Be consistent first, follow your rules, and then grow your size.
If I could interject quickly to build on that, notice what Dr. Brett is saying about consistency. A trader that looks at something and says, hey, I'm $700 or I'm $1,100, but I don't want to close early, they're focusing on P&L instead of process. And what Dr. Brett is focusing on is focus on the process. The P&L will follow you. So that's the only thing that I could see that was glaring. If someone says, hey, I'm making this, but I don't want to close because I feel like I'm a wimp, I'll paraphrase there. They've got to focus on process, not P&L.
I love that. It's kind of like dance with the one you brung. If you were successful trading in the trading combine with consistency, bring that with you. Bring that with you. Right. We're going to move to, is it me or is it the market? I've got a question here. Jacobo says thank you, and I wanted to ask, he started adding bookmap and footprint to his trading plan, and the results are decreasing. Notice how I make hasty decisions, and based on what I just see in my, based on what I just see, I just justify my decision. So based on what I see, I just justify my positions. I had a very mechanical plan, which I always knew what to do. How do you manage the fact of mixing this? Jacobo added a couple of tools. Performance has been declining. Thought that he was doing pretty well before, but still wants to add these two to the mix. How does he do that? I almost feel like if it's not broke, don't fix it. But doctor, what say you?
Yeah, I like the idea of finding new and better tools, but it takes a while to learn those and to become good at those. Now, am I mistaken? Are you going to be talking with some friend of mine named Jim Dalton?
On Thursday, yes, we are going to be talking to your buddy Jim.
How did I not? Well, he has some new tools for people, and he's been using market profile successfully for a number of years. And as I shared online, when I was in Chicago and working at a prop firm, when we started a training program, it was grounded on them learning a new tool called market profile. and based on the writing of Jim Dalton. But it's a whole different way to visualize market activity. It's a whole different way of visualizing breakouts and mean reverting markets and trends. And so it takes a fair amount of practice to get good at that tool. Once you put in that practice, you literally are able to see things in markets that you previously would not have seen. So I do think it can be a worthwhile investment. I personally would not want to learn multiple tools at the same time. I would want to take one at a time, get good at it, internalize that, and then consider other tools later on. I think that could make the learning curve more doable.
Yeah, it's kind of like you can do anything, but you can't do it all at once. Focus on one, get good at that, then add the other one.
100%.
Gary wants to know.
I'm a
Oh,
mechanic.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, doctor.
If I'm an auto mechanic and I get a whole new, better set of tools, that's exciting. And I could become a much better mechanic as a result of using these better tools. But it's going to take me a while to learn those and get good at those. And so you want to put in that learning time in order to build your skills.
Well, I've had some dealings with mechanics lately, and we're deeply in need of mechanics. So if you're looking for a second stream of income, become a
No
mechanic. Man,
kidding.
we need a lot of them. Gary wants to know, when do you know if it's your trading? When do you know it's your trading badly? When do you know if you're trading badly versus when the market is not cooperating? It's kind of hard to say, but when do you know when you're trading badly, or is it the market? Well,
I know I'm trading badly if I'm distracted. And it doesn't matter what the source of distraction is. I can tell when I'm relatively focused. I can tell when I'm relatively distracted. And that to me is a key piece of information. Markets can be tricky. Markets can be difficult. I thought yesterday's market, where overnight we really plunged, there was the news about the AI coming out of China. There was also news about potential tariff wars involving Colombia, and we really sold off. But then, as the day went on, we actually saw some parts of the stock market outperform value relative to growth, for instance. And what started as looking like a trend day, an impulse day, ended up being a rotational day. So sometimes the market throws curveballs, sometimes the market changes midstream, and we want to be attentive to that. We want to be open-minded. What do we expect from the market? What's actually happening? If you were trading yesterday, you would have looked and said, well, wait a minute here. The Dow stocks are going into positive territory.
Right.
WTF. If this was supposed to be a trend day to the downside, that should not be happening. So at times it's the market. It's throwing us a curveball. And by looking at the different parts of the market, by looking at different markets, we can assess that. But sometimes it has nothing to do with the market. I'm just distracted. Other things on my mind, and I'm not fully focused. And so I need to step back and get myself into the right mindset.
Anne Marie, did you have something you wanted to add to this?
No, I think the only thing I would add there is you have to, when you set up a trade, you have to have something in your mind that goes, if I'm wrong, this is likely to happen. And if that happens and you get stopped out, you have to go, okay, is my underlying suspicion about what should be happening today actually what's happening today? And be willing to recalibrate. And that's what I lean on into Dr. Brett saying, be present and be mindful in those spaces.
That's why I always say be creative. Just being creative enough to accept the information that has changed in the marketplace strips a lot of people's gears. It takes time for humans to adjust to that new information. And hopefully you can make that adjustment before it costs you too much. Doctor,
Absolutely.
you had something you wanted to add to that, please.
Yeah, there's a book that's out fairly recently. Tom Hogard is the author.
Yeah, best winner loses.
Best loser wins.
Best loser wins. Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is really a follow-up to your point, Anne-Marie, are you doing a good job of being a loser? Are you doing a good job of recognizing when your idea is not playing out and stopping out appropriately, not losing too much money, maybe even learning from the situation so that it helps you with the next trade?
Doctor, while we're on this subject, I kind of feel like this is creativity, accepting information, flexibility is what we're really kind of talking about here when the market state changes and we have a difficult time recognizing that. There's another snippet in your blog that I found very interesting, and I want to get your take on this. It was a quote from David Burkus. Creativity doesn't just love constraints, it thrives under them. What does that mean?
Yeah, so the idea of creativity by constraints means that we create artificial limits, and that pushes us to think about a problem or a challenge in a new way. So the example I used on the blog is, what if I could only place one trade per day? Okay. Well, if I'm only going to trade once a day, it has to be a significant trade. It has to be a meaningful move. I'm not just going to scalp a tick here. So what would I look for? What rules would I follow? How would I know that something is the trade of the day? It forces me not only to think about the market in a different way, but to actually develop a way of trading the market differently to make the most out of the one trade. So creating that constraint helps us think in new and different ways, which is the essence of creativity.
I love that. It's like,
yeah, me too.
Here's a straw, a piece of crepe paper, and a twig. Make something beautiful out of it.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, me too. Good
Love
stuff.
that. Here's a curveball. Pearson wants to trade on the institutional level. What steps could he take to prepare for that level of trading?
Wow, that's an interesting question. So institutional level, I'll respond with the institutions I work with personally and realize that there are many different financial institutions, and market making for an investment bank is very different than running a portfolio for a hedge fund. So there are lots of different kinds of quote unquote institutional trading. I work with hedge funds predominantly. And the important thing to recognize is that the hedge fund portfolio managers are managing large amounts of capital. At the fund where I started years ago, the minimum allocation, the minimum amount of capital that you would be trading was $200 million. Yeah, 200 million. So when you
Can I just take a check for that and go?
I don't think you could just take the investor capital and run. Yeah, there's a legal and compliance team that would not like that. um, but, so if you're trading many millions of dollars, you aren't going to just say, okay, I'll buy the S&P here and sell it there. You now think in portfolio terms because you need to have diversified bets. So yes, I might want to be long stocks, but at the same time I'm long stocks, maybe stocks are going up because they're anticipating growth. Maybe the anticipation of growth could be impacting expectations about inflation. And so I'll have another trade in fixed income in the bond market that will express my view in a different way. And maybe I have a totally different view about strength in one country versus another country. And so I'm going to buy that country, sell that country. So I'm creating new ideas, different ideas, and putting them all together in a portfolio. That's called portfolio management. And to trade at an institutional level, you really have to learn to think and to trade in portfolio terms.
So what we say all the time, I mean, the longest of time frame traders, the institutional traders, aren't just outright long or short anything. They are hedged in all over the place in all different kinds of products. To be an institutional trader, I think I'm not. I don't think I'm smart enough. Any institution that would have me as an institution, I probably wouldn't want to be in. But I mean, you've got to be, you got to understand macro, micro economics. I mean, these traders aren't just naked S&Ps or the Nasdaq. They're hedged all over the place, and it seems very complicated to me as a day trader for to even think about something like that.
Yeah, it's a different game because they're trading less often. Certainly they would look at a scalper who's looking at order flow and second by second changes in order flow, and that for them would be very complicated, and they can't do that. But realize that you learn the institutional game by starting out at the first rung of a trading institution. So at a hedge fund, you would begin as a junior analyst, and you would be responsible for covering a certain market or a certain strategy and gathering information and making recommendations about trades. And while you're in that junior role, you're observing the people who are doing other strategies, other markets, who are doing portfolios. And so literally you learn the business from the ground up. And that's how people learn, quote unquote, the institutional aspect of financial markets.
Again, you can do it all, but you can't do it all at once.
Right. It's crawl, walk, run.
Yes.
Little trust thing here. Eli's got a question, and process over profit, something we hear a lot, is crucial in trading. But it is really hard to do so when you still care about the outcome. What would you suggest as an exercise or mindset that would help with disassociating from P&L? Process over process, great words, hard to do. Any suggestions on being able to kind of disassociate from P&L? I mean, the best trader I've known said, I learned how to make good trading decisions. The money's a byproduct. And if to be able to do that is something that I think very few people are able to do. Do you have any suggestions for people to help disassociate that P&L from the process?
Yeah, and I don't think anyone totally dissociates. People want, we're all achievement oriented, and profit, certainly is something we want. But again, it's back to that question about trading out of need. That when we can't separate ourselves from the P&L, it's often because we have some psychological need or some financial need regarding the trading. And so it's easiest to separate myself from my trading results by focusing on the portfolio called my life. And what are my other investments in life? Like my relationships, my family, my personal activities. If we are getting a lot of gratification, satisfaction, and fulfillment from the various areas of our lives, then we don't intensively need to be profitable in our trading all of the time. And that helps us get a certain measure of distance.
This really, I think, does a nice segue into the next question, which is from a doctor, Dr. Raman. Says, "Hello, doc. My question dives deep into my struggle with instant dopamine spikes that I get with the winning streaks. The kind of dopamine shot we get while shopping online instead of the gradual increase in gratitude we get by physically shopping. I really find it hard to control some of my trades the next day when I get easy trades the previous day. So in other words, he had a good day. Now it's the next day. He's having a hard time managing his impulses, I would guess. He says, I realize it while trading, but sometimes the urge to get that gratification makes me force more trades when I know I should wait. Any tips on working that out slowly to find my best chance in reducing these unwanted dopamine spikes? Says dopamine on it from a doctor. I figured we'd ask that one.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So a couple of responses there. It's a good question. One thing that Anne Marie and I share is, I think, an awareness of how our spiritual development can help our development as traders and our development in life. And we all come from different spiritual traditions and may have different beliefs, but there's something more important than the here and now. And it's helpful for me in working with traders to have in mind, or for me trading, to have in mind, this too shall pass. And it could be profits, it could be losses, but we step back and we realize that what's happening right here, right now is not the whole picture of life. And that gives us a perspective. That gives us an emotional perspective that makes it easier to not fall prey to the dopamine spikes. One of the exercises I have traders do is they've made money yesterday. They're all excited. And I have them do a visualization exercise, guided imagery. Imagine that yesterday was a bad losing day for you. Think those thoughts, feel those feelings. You really drew down yesterday. Now, in the drawdown mode, is the trade you're thinking of taking right now a trade you would genuinely take? If you're in drawdown mode, you want to make the money back, you want to do well, but you're not going to take frivolous trades. Usually, the people I work with, when they are in drawdown mode, that's when they trade their best, because then they're holier than the Pope. Then they have to, follow their rules consistently. So by imagining being in drawdown mode, it puts a different frame on the idea, a more selective frame, so they're not trading out of excitement.
Well, I really appreciate the inclusion of spirituality in this conversation. And I know that you recently wrote an online blog called Radical Renewal on the topic of spirituality in trading. We'll see if we can't find a link to that. If you want to tell us where we can find that right now, Doctor, that would be great.
Yeah, if you just Google Radical Renewal.
Radical Renewal.
Yeah. But it's leadingrenewal.blogspot.com. And it's linked on my blog as well. But the idea here, and I think I might have mentioned it in a previous appearance, the idea here is that you want to trade from the soul, not from the ego. And you want the trade to come from genuine conviction, what you feel, what you see, not from the ego as something that you want to become famous or to become more rich or what have you. And by taking the ego out of what you do, which is a big part of just about all the spiritual traditions, by taking the ego out of what you do, it allows you to trade from that intuition that we call the soul.
Gold.
Intuition is the soul, and it's
Soul speaks
very
to us.
gentle, very gentle when it speaks to us. It whispers, it hints, doesn't yell at us. Doctor, I know we're getting a little bit short on time. I wanted to just kind of wrap up with one of the things that I read in your blog, Trading as Warfare blog. There was a quote in there that I found very interesting, and if you would expound on it just a little bit for us. The quote was, many of the psychological challenges of short-term traders occur because they operate tactically without an underlying strategy. Can you explain that a little bit for me?
Yeah, and most concretely, short-term traders will look at what's happening on a short term. They'll look at charts on one time frame, and they miss a bigger picture of what's happening in their market. And so they'll see the market going down, and they won't realize that that's occurring within the context, a bigger picture context of a rising market. In fact, what's happening is we have cycling action within a bull market trend. One of the nice things about market profile, and you'll be discussing with Jim Dalton, is that he constructs profiles of different time frames. And so that you can see what's happening on the short time frame, what's happening medium time frame, longer time frame. And so you're combining tactics, which is the short-term execution of the idea, with strategy, which is your participation in the bigger picture. Yes.
I love it. The pitch is a tactic. The whole game is the strategy.
That's right. And in any sport, you have to practice your tactics. You have to be really good at your tactics. Your tactics are how you block and tackle. But you still need a game plan. You need a strategy for winning. So that's a different thing.
Fantastic.
I know. Great stuff. Love
I
it.
can't thank you enough, Doctor, for joining us.
Truly.
Please tell us you'll come back and do this again.
It's always a joy.
Happy to do that again. And I appreciate all the good questions that people submitted. I appreciate your organizing those questions, and I appreciate the back and forth with both of you. And look forward to coming back. Have a good time with Mr. Dalton.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that. I've had
fun.
the opportunity to meet him once before. He's always a lot of fun. He's a gentleman. He's very funny and so smart. Saved my life, I can tell you that much. And Brett, I know I'm looking forward to your new book, Positive Trading Psychology, and we're looking forward to that.
Well, thank you.
Anne Marie, always a pleasure to spend time with you, and I'm looking forward to talking to you soon. Anything else that I'm forgetting? Oh, I did want to also thank all of you, our viewers, everybody in chat, everybody that brought those questions. Great questions. If we did not get to them, I apologize. We will see if we can't get to them to the next time that the good doctor is here. And on that note, Dr. Anne Marie, I thank you from my heart. Blessings to you both and blessings to you all. And we'll look forward to our next segment, which is, hang on. The shoulder tap. Well, I think we're really just going to be doing lunchbox trading. JD is going to join me as well as Deanna. So we'll see you then. Again, blessings to you both. Blessings to all of you. Trade well, everybody, and we'll see you in just a couple of minutes.
What's up, traders? It's Mick here with Topstep. The best program to get you funded is now built around you. Topstep's got a new offering, and it isn't a one-time sale. It's the best all-in price, and it's going to be here every day. Now, there's 2 paths to funding. The new and exciting path is the no activation fee path. This is where you're going to pay a little bit more upfront, but then pay nothing when you pass the trading combine. You've got your standard path. It's a lower monthly cost. Then when you pass the trading combine, there's an activation fee. That activation fee is actually coming down in price. Topstep's got the best program, the best payout policy, and now the best all-in price. I can't wait to see what it offers our traders on their way to a better lifestyle.
We're just trying to adjust, you know, summer trading is totally different. I was just thinking, dude, traders are weird. It's like there's so many paradoxes in trading. Here's one of them. Actually, here's 2. Traders like Mondays, and traders typically don't like the summer because the markets are slow. Who are we? What are we doing, guys?
Raffles,
Hold
more
on.
swag coming your way.
Don't move this. Don't move this. Dre, is that your score on the punch a bag?
Oh, look who's about to hit it. No, look who's ready to let it rip. We got the clip. Actually, if we want, we'll show you. You'll see. If you've seen, I've given you an arm shot once. You know what that number is.
You don't want to piss Dre off.
These traders at the get-together, they came to me. They said, "Sir, I have never seen someone trade the ES contract like you. Nobody has ever traded ES in such a way as yourself."
Amazing. Oh, Jack, bringing the heat. Hell yeah, Jack. That's how you do it, Baron. Team Jack now. Great job. Fantastic.
Dad is still trading. He's still doing his thing in a combine. We're actually going to Disney next week. So
Get out of here, really?
Yeah.
Whole
Yeah,
family?
looking forward to that.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yep.
How many are you
yep.
taking?
I'd say I think 6 or 7 around there. Yeah,
Oh,
6 or
hell
7 of
yeah.
us. All thanks to a
Oh,
Topstep payout I got. So
Get out of here. Are you serious?
Yeah. So it's awesome to be able to do that for your family, and this is the opportunities that trading provides. So definitely thankful to you guys for that.
We talked about Gabe going on a date. It seems like it went really well. And just like Gabe, she also trades and she likes raw milk. Wouldn't you know it, we have footage of that date. Andrew, go ahead and throw the first one up. Here we go. Live footage of Gabe on his date. Our paparazzis were out there in full force. Are you free again next Friday, babe? Gabe and his date.
Man, oh
The
man.
Topstep TV paparazzi. You never know where we're going to hit next.